The hose reel to me is a detail, it's a luxury, but once you go down that path, it's a must. Tangled up hoses, trying to coil up a pressure washer hose, dealing with an air hose or a vacuum and the hose that goes with that can take up a lot of your time trying to get it nice. You know, if you're like me and you want your place to look nice, feel nice, function well, you know, hose reels to me help solve some of the bigger issues of detailed organization that I think many people overlook. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the 4 different types. I'm going to show you why, and we'll talk about placement and how you might best set yours up. So in my world, there are 4 types of reels, and I just so happen to have all 4 of those in my garage here. So I have power cord reel, air reel, vacuum reel, and pressure washer reel. So each reel has its own purpose, right, and eliminates a pain point for me, eliminates some friction, time, and then just all I can think of in my brain is the tangled mess of wires and hoses and how much I hate it and how much I could never find the right drawer or do the right wrap of the hose or the power cord. Knowing that I've got this on the wall, out of the way, and at the ready just makes me feel way better. So the first thing that comes to mind for me on the benefits of putting reels in your garage is it looks good. You know, it looks the part. Even though these are all functionally excellent and they're designed for industry, they're designed for tasks that are much more robust and difficult to accomplish than what I'm doing here, it looks great. And so getting that mess, that tangled mess, or that drawer that's being occupied, getting it on the wall and at the ready, I think is very important. So although these look good on the wall, there's a lot that's gone into this. I mean, it's just painful to think. One year I actually found this company, Cox Hose Reels, at the Apex show in Las Vegas, and I fell in love immediately. And so then I started ordering reels from them. But the reels you see here today, I've had to modify. It's taken me a long time to get here. Now, although I'm sure we could make a prettier hose reel, these are, again, made for industry. They're made for, you know, use and abuse, which we're not going to have in our garage. But I don't want some consumer grade product in my garage. I want the best. The air reel, in this case, has a completely different spring. And so as I set this up and I allow my hose to retract, it has what they call easy coil. But what I found is that the natural easy coil didn't work well with, or the OEM easy coil spring didn't work well with our hose. And so I've had several different hose iterations over the years and then several different spring iterations. And then I wanted a stainless steel swivel. The power cord reel has a different power cord in it. Now, you'd have to do this at your own risk. They don't put our power cord in, but I've actually modified and put one of our Prologue cords in it. And then, of course, choosing different finishes. But I've had to do a lot of trial and error to get here to make it look as good as it does. And so let me take that pain away from you from having to trial and error a bunch of hose reels. I think I bought probably 30 different pressure washer hose reels to get the one that we use today. I'm not convinced that we can't make it better someday, but in our current state, the current marketplace, what currently exists, I think these are the best hose reels that we have available to us. So just the other day I was thinking about this. I was going to polish the Tesla, and I had a polisher and everything out, and I'm like, oh shoot, I need to get air. I need to blow out the pads. So it's as simple as this. I go and grab this. I open up my cabinet that I have set up here with my air tools. You heard the air in the line right there. And I pull this over to here, the other side of the garage. And then what I'll do is kind of pick the amount of slack that I need. Wait for the spring to click, like that, locks in place. I have a nice little easy hang. And then what I would do is I like to blow out my pads out the door, so I have this little hook on my slat wall. Done. And then when I'm done with this, I easily release my tool. Because it's easy coil, this won't rip the hose back in out of control. And so I have a nice controlled movement of the hose. I don't care who you are. I think that's awesome. So the hose reel is I think the major component to a pressure washer setup, the advantage of it being on the wall. Because if I were to show you how to set this up, I very simply pull out as much slack as I need, right? I connect to my gun, and then imagine this thing's pulled out, 50 feet. This is a 100-foot hose on here. I pulled it out 100 feet all the way, and then I can very simply break it down. If I were to pull some of this off, see how the pressure washer hose tends to coil up a lot? And it does even more when you pull more out. And then, friends don't let friends have messy windings, but you could wind this up in one big jumbled mess. Now notice I have a completely different type of hose reel for the pressure washer. The reason why I prefer a traditional hand crank reel like this Cox reel here in the Crinkle Black is that a pressure washer hose is not very pliable, much less pliable than a power cord and certainly less pliable than an air reel. And so I want to be in control as I'm winding in and out. But all I would do is simply take my hose, manage its return, and I can make what used to be a really annoying process for me, which was to put my pressure washer away. I can make it a really seamless, simple project. Put an OGPP plug in there, and we end up with a very clean setup. Nothing's worse to me than having to roll out my pressure washer out of the cabinet, get the hose out, uncoil it, and then even worse, putting it back away. This saves a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of frustration, and makes for a really amazing experience when you're washing your car. You'll be more likely to do it more often if you can take some of the pain points away. And I think the biggest contributor to that is the hose reel. So remember I was telling you this was an arduous process to get here. It looks so simple when you see it on my wall, right? But there's a lot that goes into one selecting the right hose, the right power cord, the right vacuum hose, the right pressure washer hose. But the thing that matters most and the thing you're going to interact with most is the final connection. The connection point for your pressure washer gun, for your air chuck or your air tool, or you're going to plug something into the power cord or use a vacuum accessory. And so this is something that I've been chasing for a long time. I found this years ago, but this company called Prevost, which makes the piping and the air delivery stuff, they make this amazing fluid swiveling coupler here. So this thing swivels in a 360-degree fashion. It's also a double release, but check this out. When I push this in place, it's a single push where I can move it around however I need to. Again, I have air at the ready. This is a double release, so I press the button and then I remove the tool. How freaking cool is that? Now, this is a $100 part, but it's something that I think these have a lifetime warranty, and having this sucker, it's just the little nuance, the little detailed decisions that make your user experience in the garage better. Another thing that I think you might like is if you were to modify this. So to do this, you would have to buy the hose reel and buy our ProLock power cord and then do it at your own risk. So that's my disclaimer. But Mike set mine up here where I have my ProLock cord. They sell it with it comes with a really nice power cord. You just have to discard that cord. But the ProLock cord is pretty nice because once I plug something in, it's locked in place unless I pull the pin back or pull the release back. So this helps especially when you're working in the garage and you have a power tool or you have a polisher or something and you have it plugged in. You don't want it pulling out. A lot of people would do the method where you do the double tie method. You don't need to do that with a ProLock cord. If you've ever had an experience of either an in-wall, like the Hide-A-Hose vacuum system, or having a vacuum reel, but to have, the right size, nozzle, so I get, a good solid fit is important to have. And then, the beauty of this, my vacuum's in the back room over there. I can hit the button here, and my vacuum's at the ready. I can pull it out, and then when I'm done, simply wind it back up. Turn it on. Some other really great accessories, a couple more I need to install, but this is a Co-Spec microfiber protection sleeve, which I can Velcro on, and then I can remove it to wash. But these are something that we have in the store that I think you really might like. Hose reel doesn't do you a whole heck of a lot of good unless you have the right accessories to make it, functionally excellent. So the big reason to have hose reels is to make sure that you can get full garage coverage with all types of hoses or cords that the hose reels are serving. And so selection of location matters most to make sure that I can get the darn power cord where I needed to get to. So I think I can add a little value for you here on discussing where to put the darn hose reels. This is something I've played with every combination, and I would have thought the best place to do it would have been to do it, right overhead. Now I made this beautiful setup with my amazing cabinets and the great lighting and this awesome tile wall. I did this in a house where I put the hose reels right in the most convenient location, which was kind of flanking the TV, so I could get full access. But the problem is it kind of obstructed my view of the nice garage. The other lessons I've learned is that when you put them on the ceiling, you see them. They're just always there. And so I found the best place to put them is on a wall. And in this garage, what I wanted to do is I wanted to put them in an area, this is pretty deep, it's about 24.5 feet deep. So I knew I would have an area where I'd have a sort of a 6-foot walkway or so, because I'd usually keep a small car in the third bay here. And so I put them in a location where as long as within 50 feet, and the way that I would do this is take a tape measure, pull it out to the furthest area and just kind of pull the tape measure around and make sure you can reach everywhere you want to reach. But again, traditionally in the garage, you think you need to put it central on the ceiling, but I tend to put it where it looks best. I've done it on all 4 corners of the car, around a lift. Again, I've done it on the front wall, the back wall. We've kind of done it all over the place. The other lesson learned is that I've done it where I had 8 different reels, 10 different reels. Generally speaking, I found that you really only need one of each. If you have one of each, you're really living the dream. And so I've done it where I've done redundancy to make sure I can hit every angle of the room, and then I found that I never really used it. So just keep that in mind when you're making the decision. So if you've made it this far in the video, I know what you're thinking. Why, Matt, why can't I just do this with one reel? Unfortunately, if you want full versatility, you need a few of them. But I'm telling you, the reason to have a hose reel we talked about is to get everything organized. It looks beautiful. It's very functional. But you need several of them. I want to be able to do air. I want to be able to do power, vacuuming, pressure washing. You've got 4 different unique tasks that have unique delivery. I need to get power to one and air to another and water and then suction. So those are 4 different unique things that create a ton of versatility in the garage. But having the 4 different reels can really, again, I keep harping on this, but it can change the experience you have in the garage and just make it more fun, make it more organized, make it feel better and be cleaner and more structured. But having the versatility to be able to do all these things is, I think, one of the biggest reasons why you would have them in your garage. So remember, a hose reel is about removing friction, right? Removing pain points. When we're talking about the details of a garage, those little things that kind of take it over the edge to make it an obsessed garage, to make it your obsessed garage, to make it great. These little nuanced details, now it's expensive, it costs a lot of money to sort of take this pain point away. I get that. but I promise you, I've never had anybody call me and say, I really regret having the versatility of multiple hoses and power cord and having the that kind of pain point taken away. No one really complains about that. So something you can help me with, and something I'd like to help you with. One, can you tell me, you've seen the different colors here. We buy gray, we buy black, and we buy the original Cox blue. I'm starting to think of abandoning the blue. What do you think? Can you tell me in the comments, which color would you choose? Should I get rid of one of the colors? It's really, really hard to stock these because these are all custom. And so stocking these 4 different hose reels in 3 different colors is really difficult. And I'm starting to think that nobody buys the blue. So tell me what you think. Are you a blue person, or should I go to just black? Should I get rid of the gray? What do you think? Tell me that. And my help to you is, if you're not sure where the hose reel should go, if you're not sure how to mount it, because they do have some odd spacing. You need to make sure you have blocking in the wall or a block wall to mount to. If you'd just like to see the different colors on the wall, or if you wanted something full custom like stainless, hit us up, Design at Obsessed Garage. Our guys can render it for you. If you send them a picture of your garage, we can draw it for you and then help you pick where your hose reels go. They can advise you on, if you're building a house, where to pre-wire, how to set up blocking in the wall, so they can help you design all that stuff. So hit us up. We'd be happy to help you think through that. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I know hose reels can kind of get a little boring, but I think this is something that you should be considering. And so we felt compelled to take the time to kind of dig into the details of this stuff. I'm telling you, it's one of those things. I don't know that it's life-changing like some of the stuff in this garage. You hear me saying that all the time. But it is one of those functional things that can really make your garage time better. And to me, I'm willing to invest a lot of time, money, and effort in that pursuit. I've taken the pain of the pursuit, the chase, of doing it wrong, out of the equation here for you. So, if we can help, we'd be happy to. Thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned for more crazy. Hose reels, especially the amount of time and money I've spent on these suckers, is crazy, and I'm glad that I can share this with you. We'll see you soon.